Good morning, dear children. How are you? The last class we discussed about free and fair elections. No? Then our next topic is one person, one vote, one value. Listen to the board. One person, one vote, one person, one vote, one value. In the first lesson, it is mentioned that the struggle for democracy closely linked with the demand for universal adult franchise. Now, almost all countries in the world accepted that universal adult franchise. In all democracies, nowadays we can see universal adult franchise. But still we can see some countries are not following that properly, especially in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, women have no right to vote. And in case of Estonia, there also the people, those who are living in urban areas are Russian minorities in Estonia. There also, their votes value also not that much as the voting of the original people of Estonia. Okay, the Russian minority living in urban areas, they have voting right, but their vote has not that much value. Okay, they have no valuable votes. Okay, and in case of Fiji is a group of volcanic islands in South Pacific Ocean. In Fiji also, the inhabitants, original inhabitants, that means the indigenous Fiji, that means those who born in Fiji, they have voting right in Fiji, but the people, those who migrated and settled in Fiji, they have no voting right. So we can realize that almost all over the world universal adult franchise accepted, but still it is not functioning properly. Okay, so from this we can conclude, we can reach in a conclusion that the third feature of democracy, what is that? In a democracy, each adult citizen must have one vote and each vote must have one value. That is given in bold letters in your textbook. Underline that. Okay. In a democracy, each adult citizen must have one vote and each vote must have one value. Then, the next topic is rule of law and respect for rights. So, rule of law and respect for rights. Rule of law and respect for rights. In case of Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe was under the white rule. White Europeans ruled Zimbabwe up to 1980. Zimbabwe got freedom 1980. Since then, or 1980 onwards, Zimbabwe ruled by one party, ZANU-PF. Listen, ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF. The full form of ZANU-PF is African National Congress. Listen, Zimbabwe African National Union and Congress, Zimbabwe African National Union. That is the full form of ZANU-PF. The party's leader was Robert Mugabe. Robert Mugabe was the leader of that party. President Mugabe is popular but also use unfair practices in the election. During the election time, Robert Mugabe and his party always followed unfair practices. He was very familiar to the people, he was popular among the people, then also he used the unfair practices in the election. The opposition party workers are harassed and their meeting disrupted. Opposition party were there. Opposition party leaders always tortured by this party, ZANU-PF, and their meetings, opposition parties meetings, this party created some problems. Public protests and demonstrations against the government are declared illegal. Against the government, nothing can do by the opposition party. All that their meetings, demonstrations, everything considered illegal against the law by the government. There is a law that limits the right to criticize the president. A law introduced, according to that law, no one can criticize President Mugabe. And the media, radio, television, all this media only telecast the programs which is favorable to the ruling party. Okay, they very much criticize the opposition party, and newspapers also, journalists, those who are reporting anything against the ruling party, they were tortured. And the judgment, court judgments, everything they make favorable to the ruling party. Okay, if the judges made any other judgment against the ruling party, they were harassed by the party or this party, ZANU-PF. Okay, and they tried to influence the judges to make favorable judgments. Okay, these were the unfair practices followed this party, ZANU-PF. The example of Zimbabwe shows that popular approval of the ruler is necessary in a democracy, but it is not sufficient. In a democratic country, the popularity for the government is necessary, but it is not sufficient. If the popular rulers also, sometimes they became autocratic, despotic. They will do whatever they like. Even though they are very popular among the people, they will do some unfair things to the people. Okay, then it is equally important to look before and after the elections. If we want to assess democracy, we want to go through the elections, the things happening before the elections, the things are happening after the election. Before the election, all the parties should get. In a country, there should be so many parties. So, all the parties should get chances to demonstrate, conduct meetings, to form associations, everything. And they should get the chance to criticize the ruling party also. All these things must want to follow during the election period or before the election period. All the people should get the chance to analyze the party. Okay. Then they should be free to think, and some rights of people. Peoples should get some rights. Which are the rights? They should get the right to think. Okay, and they should get the chance to, or they should have the freedom to express their opinion in public. Okay, the people should have some rights in a democracy or democratic country. People should have the right to think, and they should get the chance to express their opinion in the public and to form associations, to protest and take other political actions. All these chances the people should get in a democratic country. Everyone should be equal in the eyes of law. In case of law, all should get equal rights. All should be equal in front of the law. There should be no favors to any people in front of the law. These rights must be protected by an independent judiciary. That is the most important thing in a democracy. Judiciary should be independent. Okay, judiciary is the most important organ of the government. Okay, so an independent judiciary want to solve the problems of the people related with the laws and rules and regulations. Okay, we shall read more about these people's rights in chapter 6. Similarly, there are some conditions that apply to the way a government is run after the elections. All these things we want to consider before the election. The chance to conduct meetings, form associations, everything. And after the election, which party won the election, that party can form the government. Then the main thing is that the ruling party or which party won the election, that party cannot do whatever they like. Okay, it is not a chance to the ruling party work according to their ambitions. Not possible in a democratic country. A democratic government cannot do whatever it likes simply because it has won an election. It has to respect some basic rules. Okay? It has to respect some basic rules. In particular, it has to respect some guarantees to the minorities. Who are minorities? Some religious minorities should be there in country, and the language case also. Only some people use a particular language. That should be minority. So the government should consider the case of the minority community also. Okay? Then every major decision has to go through a series of consultation. The government should go through serious discussions before take a favorable decision. Okay? Every office bearer has certain rights and responsibilities assigned by the constitution and the law. The officials should follow rules and regulations. Okay, every office bearers, that means the officials, has certain rights and the responsibilities assigned by the constitution and the law. The officials in the country, they should have some rights and they should have some responsibilities also. All these are guaranteed by the constitution. The officials should get that rights and they should follow that rules and regulations, and what are the responsibilities assigned to them that they want to follow properly. Okay. Each of these is accountable not only to the people but also to other independent officials. They want to accountable. Accountable means answerable. The officials should answerable to the people and answerable to other independent officials. Okay. So all these are the things we want to see in a democratic country after the elections and before the election. Then we reached in the final feature of democratic government. In this lesson we studied more features of a democratic government. This is the final feature given in the lesson. What is that? A democratic government rules within limits set by constitutional law and citizens' rights. That is the last feature of a democratic country. A democratic government rules within limits. Rules. The ruling party should rule the country within limits. There should have some limitations set by constitutional law and citizens' right. Who is the authority or who set the rules and regulations? The constitution. According to the rules and regulations of the constitution, the government should rule the country in a democratic country. That government want to follow the laws set by constitution and according to the rights of the people. Once again, I will read the final feature. Listen. A democratic government rules within limits set by constitutional law and citizens' rights. That means the rulers can't rule the country whatever or in which way they like. That not possible. There are such laws set by the constitution and according to the rights of the people. Okay, so these are the features of the democratic government. We studied many features in this lesson. First one we studied, democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. Don't you remember that? Democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. Then we came to another feature. In a democracy, the final decision-making power must rest with those elected by the people. See, final decision-making power must rest with those elected by the people. Then, a democracy must be based on free and fair election where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. See, democracy must be based on a free and fair election. In that election, the ruling party has a chance to lose the position. Okay, people have the right to remove the ruling party from the position. Then, in a democracy, each adult citizen must have one vote and each vote must have one value. And the final feature we discussed in this lesson is a democratic government rules within limits set by constitutional law and citizens' right. Okay, so read the lesson, all these points properly, prepare notes. Okay, shall we wind up the class? Thank you.